Okay, so now we're setting up this wing. I already built one wing and I'm making another. And so I put all the trailing edges down and I sandwich them between these pins. What I used to do was take really fine pins and stick them through the wood. And someone pointed out to me that was a dumb idea because you're sacrificing the integrity of the wood. So just to show people how to do this, this is a wing tip that fits on the end here. So I'll just take this and dot in a little bit of glue. Set it in there as best I can, matching up where it's supposed to go, the leading edge and the back edge here. And then I take one of these pins. These are just regular push pins, and they're nice because they got that ridge on them. And that allows you to sandwich things and press against them. So you just take them and you push the pin next to the piece of wood and you put it down flat until it touches the wood and kind of anchors it in place. So you go on one side, then you go on the other, like that. And that thing is probably in there pretty good. So I'll put one more on there just in case. But I think that's all right. The leading edge is this piece of 3/32 square, and there's a slight crack right here, or a bend. That's supposed to be where dihedral goes, but we're not putting any dihedral in. But the leading edge is still bent there. So what I did was crack it very carefully right where it's supposed to go. And then I'm just going to put that down, match it up. And then to see where I have to put glue on the ends, I just take a little pencil, and I can see I got to put glue on those pieces right there. So I'll take a little bit of glue and stick them on those pieces, on those areas where I just drew, so I know where it's supposed to go. And I'll put a little bit probably on there as well, where I cracked it, just to make sure it gets strong. And then you just go ahead and put this thing down, and then you do the same thing. You butt it up, and then you take your pins and you sandwich the leading edge in there. And you want to be careful. Initially it's a little bit dicey, but then it gets much better. Things start to hold in place like that. Bring this one down, and it's sucked right up to the edge like that. That's good. Put my piece down flat. Make sure it's level in there. And everything matching up with the plan. I'll put another one on this side to make sure it's solid. So I've got the edges all done, and you don't have to worry about cutting it perfectly because you can come back later like this and cut off a piece. You don't have to have them formed absolutely perfectly, which is really nice. There's a place like there where it isn't quite pushed against it. You can take the pin and push it, the metal of the pin, up against the wood, and then pin it down a little bit, and that'll bring it into the piece, and they'll sandwich nice. So the rest of this is just adding these little formers. So I previously cut out all these little formers, which are very easy to do. These two are 1/16 sheet. So I'm going to test fit them. They all got a little cutout where the spar is going to go. And these guys actually are going to go fit here. I'll put a little piece of glue, a little bit of glue up there. Actually, you know, I shouldn't do that yet, because there is a piece, or a cross piece, that's just a piece of 1/8 by 1/16. So I think I should put that in first, because that will let me know, that will anchor these things much better than if I do it any other way. So let me cut that. The other thing I'm doing is probably wrong, is when I'm cutting, I tend to be cutting on this little this punky piece of stuff that pins will go through. And really what we should do is cut on something solid. So you have a cutting board is really what you should have, because then your cuts will be nice and straight and true, and they won't crush the wood. So let's try it again now. Now I got that piece in there. I'll put that, and there's a little bit of glue that goes on the end. So I'll slide that in place. I'll take my little tweezers here. And slide that in. Fits very well. And you just make sure everything's lined up where it's supposed to be. And you make sure it's pushed down flat. In this case, it doesn't need anything added to it because it feels like it's really good. I'll see if the other one works that well. A little bit of glue on the tip. A little bit of glue on this piece where it's going to fit up against that spar I just put in. Same thing. Wow, fits. And everything looks like it's lining up. It's almost like it was meant to do this. It's amazing. Alright. So now, they're all just these identical little, ooh, actually, wait. No, they're not. I've got these two that have this little lip cut out of them right there, as opposed to all the rest are just flat right angle on the end. So those are all the normal ones. These go here. These fit right along here like this. So I'll put some glue on that piece that I just showed you, and some glue on the tip. And then we'll go ahead, ooh, and probably some glue along there too. It seems to me like you need to have glue right along here where these things come in contact with one another. And you just slide that in place. Glue it in there like that. Beautiful. Do the same thing over here. A little glue under there. And again, a little glue on this inside piece. Stick that guy in there. That'll be nice and strong. And I'll put a little something under there. There's a piece there that I don't think I did quite right. I cut a piece a little prematurely. I'm going to put this is non-standard here, but that's because I messed this piece up. So don't do what I'm doing here. There, that's fine. Now you basically put all these little ribs in, and then we will shut the camera off, and then we will talk about putting the springer, the main spar on. But these should fit really nice against here and into these little slots on the very end. So you just butt it up there and you put in that slot. Look at that. Fits beautifully. Try another one. I'm amazed. I didn't think it would go this well. It never does when you want to show somebody how it works. But look at that. Perfect. So we won't bore you any longer. All 4 subscribers. And then what we'll do is put those ribs in, and then we'll show you putting this little guy on there, and then we'll put the little cap pieces that have to go on where the interplane struts will go, first strength. So back in a little bit. Okay, as promised, we put all of our ribs on, and now we're going to put the main spar on, which is a piece of 1/32 by 1/16. And what I did was I fitted in here, and I put marks at places where it needed to be slightly bent, and then I just barely cut with the knife, or just almost made just a dent in the wood, and then carefully pulled it and broke it in places, but it's still, obviously it's together. Places like near the tip, where there's the tip that comes down and has to go down at an angle, it has to be bent down a little bit, so you put a little bit of a crease in there with a knife, and then you physically bend it down with your finger, with your hands. And in the middle here is a little bit of a sweep back that follows the leading edge, so I had to put a crack here and a crack here. And I've test fitted it, and it fits really nice in my little slots, so all I have to do now is put put glue into all those little slots, and then put the piece down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on all these pieces, and then we'll fit it. It is not a hard thing to do. Anyone can do this if you have a little bit of patience and you like working with your hands. You can do this. And remember, less glue is more. You could put on too little glue. My son does that. He's really careful, too careful. But you don't want to gob it on either. So we will start by putting those pieces in to the center section, and then we'll just feed it all the way down. Oh, it's my cat. He's meowing. He spends a lot of time with me building. Right, Mooch? So put the stringer down there. Do the same thing on this side. Put it into the slot. If you pre-fit, everything should go in pretty dang well. And that, as they say, is that. I'll put a little bit of glue again on the parts that I broke. Didn't really break, but they're slightly cracked. And if you think there's any place, like I think there might be over here, where I need a little extra pinning, again, I'll just sandwich it, make sure it's down. That looks great. And when we sand it, it'll get all really nice. Now, the last part is to put in these spots here for where the interplane struts go. So I've cut a bunch of little pieces of wood. And what you have to do is put a little glue on there. And these are going to be on the bottom. This is the bottom wing. So these have to be flush with the rib on top. And they look pretty weak to me, but this is how it's designed. So I'm thinking it's going to work. The ones in the front, I'm going to put a little glue on the tip and on the side, because they butt right up to the leading edge. So I just slide, well, you can't even see with my hands in the way, but that slides in like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, because you can sand things, and all they're doing is providing a place for the eventual strut to have a solid place to attach to. The thing I'm going to do, which I've never done before, I'm going to make them out of balsa. I'm going to have a little tiny piece of wire. I'm hoping what that will do is give me a nice, it's down there. There it is. Is put a tiny little piece of wire in them, and those should provide me with a nice solid place, a little hole to put those in. And that's all there is to it. So the whole wing is now done and drying. And now that means both my wings are done. Here's the top wing. I think I showed you before. Here's the bottom wing, and there are the tails. So all we have left to do is sand those pieces, and then we can start the fuselage next. So things are moving apace. We really have only started this thing about 2 days ago, and we're not working on it constantly. So this is great, making progress.